Hey cycling community, this is Steve Grusis, the Cycling Greek. It's a week before my main event. This is where I start my tapering. It's Saturday, it's a day for a long ride. It's going to be a little over 100 miles, but it's going to be much less than 10,000 feet of climbing. So we'll talk about tapering today. We'll talk about eating before the ride, eating the day before, how you should prepare, and we're going to have a little bit of fun out there. Maybe some other tips. So let's get going.
You know, isn't it so true? I've come home from like a climbing ride. My shoulder is stiff as can be. What do I do the next time I start climbing?
Between the time I filmed this and the time that I did the voiceover, I was trying to figure out how to explain that a 141-mile, 9,000 foot of climbing ride is a taper ride. The last time I did this event was 6 years ago when I was 55. The tapering plan I used then was similar to what I had done the years before. The taper ride I did the Saturday before went either one of two ways. One, I would do a short, fast group ride with a team, or two, I would do a lot of climbing, but a short distance, and I would play on those climbs a little bit. For example, I'd race up with one of my teammates up one of the climbs, or do some jumping on another climb. The ride I did this year is really not that much different than the rides I did before when I was tapering. On this ride, I was aiming for a longer ride, but with a lot less climbing. As it turned out, I had a little more miles and a little more climbing than I anticipated. Riding from home to the local bike shop where we were all meeting added about 38 comfortable flat miles to my ride. Using a loose estimating method, I thought this ride was going to be about 7,000 feet. Well, I was about 2,000+ feet short on that. Regardless, this was a true taper ride for me. As I have mentioned in other videos, I am about 3 weeks behind in my training for this event. This is one small reason why this ride didn't bother me. In fact, it was very good for me. The basic reason for a taper is that you don't overcook yourself. Remember, form equals fitness plus freshness. You can show up to an event with all the fitness in the world, but if you're not well rested, your chances for success are greatly minimized. With my taper starting on Saturday and my big ride being done, what am I going to do for the rest of the week? Sunday, I'm doing a 20 or 30 minute easy spin on the cross bike in the small ring and just around the neighborhood. Monday, I'm probably going to do the same thing. Now Tuesday, I'll probably go with that gut-wrenching fast group ride pre-work early morning, lasts 45 minutes. Then on Wednesday, nothing. Thursday, nothing. Friday, after I pick up my ride packets, I'll come home and do about 30 minutes on the trainer, and I'll include some accelerations. Now the reason I'm doing this, and I only do this for this particular ride, is that I'm warmed up for the first hour of lead out that typically happens on this ride, and it averages about 25 miles an hour. Now, the first part's going to be faster than 25 miles an hour, and the second part, when we start to get to the rollers and the low-grade climbs, it goes a little bit below 25 miles an hour. Years ago, I could be off the bike for 3 days, then get right into a fast group ride without much warm-up. Now, I can't do that. I have to make sure that my legs are primed the day before, so then I can get to the start line and be ready for that 25 mile an hour for 1 hour lead out. With 1 week to go, tapering is not the only important facet for getting ready for this event. What am I going to eat before I get to the ride? For the last 3 Saturdays, I've been experimenting with my pre-ride fueling. Usually I'm taking off from my house, so by the time I get up to the time I get on the bike, it's about 45 minutes. The optimal thing is not to eat anything. And other than having a little bit of soy milk with my supplements, I ate nothing. The week before, I took a banana with me, and I had it about 10 to 15 minutes into the ride. I still had the soy milk with my supplements. And the weekend before that, I had an energy bar and a banana before my ride. I felt best, maybe for some other reasons too, with this last taper ride that I did. I was afraid that I wasn't having enough calories when I started the ride. I could feel a bit of a deficit. A little bit into the ride, I started taking hammer gel. I started consuming the water bottles that I had some sustained energy and heat in, and eventually that all evened out, and I was just fine. That's what I'm hoping to do for this coming Saturday. The problem is that from the time I get up till the time I start the ride, it's going to be greater than 45 minutes. I live about 20 miles away from the start, so there may be a 2-hour difference between the time I get up and finally start the event. What I'll probably do that morning is have a banana when I first get up, and maybe carry a banana with me in case I need it before the start. If I'm going to have something, I want something that's easily digestible. You've probably heard from my past videos that you want to start your ride on an empty stomach. You don't want to eat anything within 3 hours of getting on the bike. In my 3 weeks of experimenting, where I started with food, then I went to no food, part of why I was able to go to no food is that I've been getting stronger in the training for the event I'm training for. I felt a lot more comfortable going without food before my ride this past Saturday than I would have 3 weeks ago. Well, that is fueling before the ride. What about the night before? Well, I also practiced this for the last 3 weeks. Gone, or should be gone, are the days of carbo loading. Basically, you want to eat normally. And because of the event, you want to eat such that everything can get easily eliminated the morning after. The Friday before this ride was typical of the other Fridays in terms of eating. I'd start off in the morning with an egg whites, and rice. I was usually done with this meal at about 6 o'clock in the morning. I'd have some fruit for a snack, and then my late morning meal consisted of rice and beans. Late afternoon, I'd have another small meal, which usually focused around vegetables and sardines. I usually would have an orange or two around mid-afternoon, and then for my evening meal, which actually started at 5:30 in the afternoon and finished at 6, I would have a multi-colored vegetable salad with rice and salmon. Not eating anything after that would allow my body a lot of processing time, so then I would have easy elimination the next morning.
Okay.
I have a prescription.
Not
filed with the UCI.
Is that for the UCA,
Yeah.
ADA or whatever?
Yeah, it's a copy of my prescription.
You got any cough syrup in there too?
It costs me too much to drug test him, so I don't.
As you can tell from watching these videos, that training for a key event is more than just getting on the bike and just riding. In this video, we discuss tapering, eating the morning of the event, and eating the day before the event. In previous videos, we've discussed specified training, fueling during the ride, hydrating during the ride, and recovering after the ride, both in terms of caloric and non-caloric techniques. In the coaching that I do, I offer individualized, customized training plans. Even though most training concepts are quite basic, how you apply them to an individual can be quite different. For a moment, let me turn your attention to the screen. I've had 2 riders from another team just pass me, and so I increased my speed to get in their wake. The rider on the left is a good friend of mine. He's been in the sport for a long time. He is mentoring the rider on his right to ride a long sustained climb at speed using heart rate as a guide. It is this type of experienced riders giving to the younger riders that will grow this sport.
So, yeah. So this is what I do on my taper ride. I kill myself in the fast group rides with these guys.
Because I did this for a taper ride does not mean that you should do this for a taper ride. I've been riding lots of years. I've done a number of doubles, and I've been racing since 1990. I know what my training was like 2 months ago, and I know how my training went in the past month. All in all, today's ride went very well. It went so well that it even gave me confidence that next week, given cool enough temperatures and other ride conditions, that I can have a possibility of breaking 10 hours once again.
I am home. So this was my taper ride. It was 140 miles. I don't know how many feet, but I'm going to guess around 7,000 feet. So that was the taper part. You may have seen we did a lot of race play at certain sections. Tried to kill ourselves in some parts. I finished stronger than I have in any other ride, probably because it's only no more than 7,000 feet. I'm going to go in, take a shower, take my hammer supplements, take my hammer recover ride to recover. Remember, comment, like, subscribe. The Cycling Greek.